Welcome to Trusted Podcast, where it's all about discovering who you are and learning the tools and strategies to make every area of your life a little sweeter. And now your host, master coach and caddy, Fader. Well, you know, we can always edit out pretty much anything, so.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Aloha.
Aloha.
Yeah,
Back-
kia ora. Kia ora, kia
You're
ora.
back on the other island, yeah?
Back on the most important island. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. New Zealand is such a island. Everybody listening, go to New Zealand. So next year, next February, I'm taking 5 couples. 3 couples have already signed up. So there's room for 2 more. So if any of you are out there and you want to come, there's only one place I like more than Hawaii, but edit this out because I don't want anybody to know. It's New Zealand. It
There
is
you
just the full package.
Yeah.
The people, the food, the views, the vistas, the fun things to do. The weather, it gets, you can't run around in your bare feet like you can here.
Yeah.
So I'd miss that. But it gets a little cold.
Oh, man.
It gets a little cold there. But
That's
fishing,
awesome, though.
hiking, hunting. Yeah, it is. It is. Shout out to New Zealand and my homeland and my first 8 years of my life. And if I can ever be your tour guide through New Zealand, it will be my privilege. And I would love to do it. Every February, Heidi and I go.
That is awesome.
So we went January last year and this year, and now we're going to change that to February because the weather is even better in February and March than it is in January. I didn't quite catch that, but my mates told me, it's better. It's better. The 15th, better. That's how you say better. Better. Right?
Yeah.
It's better. Yeah, it's better.
I like it.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
what do you got? What do you want to talk about today in this beautiful podcast?
The thing is, you mentioned the other day about an exercise that you like to do, which is pretty much going a year in the future and kind of thinking about what would I love to have or be in all 8 categories of my life a year from now. Is that right? That's kind of the exercise a little bit. Maybe you could kind of describe that and like where, I don't know if that's something that you've always done or if that's something new, but I think it's pretty powerful.
Thanks. It is. Well, you know that 88% of all Americans have already stopped doing their resolutions. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Remember the email you sent out, our trusted email that you sent out last week, and it after the second week, it's done.
It's crazy.
So why do we keep doing it?
Right.
Why do we keep doing resolutions when they don't work? I mean, there's a small percentage of people who carry through. You need a system that is going to carry you when you can't carry yourself, because we all struggle with following through, accountability, responsibility, but ultimately it's the accountability to follow through. That's why you and I are always preaching. We don't care if we love to be your coaches, but if it's not us, have it be someone. And so this exercise is something that I've just promoted the first year to my players, to my snipers, that they do. And so I'm really excited for them all to do it. But as you know, we carry 8 areas, and maybe you can you can link on here this little form that we created where you take each one of the 8 areas and you project into 2026, January of 2026. You write it out as if you are explaining yourself in January 2026, so a year out. So it goes along with our hole number 5 of the front 9 holes of Trusted Mastering Life, the field. And so the field, as we are learning, and most people listening have already been somewhat inundated with the quantum field, the field that we're projecting. We don't We don't want to go back to the future. We from the movie, we don't want to go forward to the future. We want to create from the future and bring it into our present. And so a good illustration of that is like my physical life. How would you explain so let me put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Let me ask you to project into 2026 January what you are like, what you feel like, and give me an image of who you are, Tyson, in January of 2026. Let me sit back and enjoy this.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Sorry to put you on the spot. I did not tell you I was going
no,
to do
no,
that.
I'll stick with physical just because it's
You're
pretty
American.
tangible. Yeah.
It's our
Well, that's what you
favorite
let off with. You let off with physical, so I'll just stick with that.
because
Just so,
that's the easiest for Americans to do. I mean, we're obsessed
otherwise
with
we'll be here all day, you
the
know? Uh,
body.
so something that I have been working on but haven't quite perfected is uh, just the diet that I have, or at least more so just the way in which I eat. Um,
Okay.
I have it's 2026 and I am not eating anything after dinner. And my rations for lunch and dinner, because I don't, I'm not eating breakfast. Just like that intermittent fasting type of way of eating is actually really
Mhm.
supportive for me. And so, um, and gives me the most energy. Where I know that I get a lack of energy is if I overeat any other part of the day. And so in 2026, I am eating the exact right portions and feeling all the energy and the benefits, as well as going to bed at a regular time that's earlier than what I have been doing. Because usually
Hmm.
I'll stay up late, but it's something that I've currently been working on with my wife, and she's kind of a night owl, and so she'll stay up later, but I'll go to bed earlier, and we're working out a
Awesome.
way in which we can still have our
Awesome.
time together. So
Okay, what about your
yeah,
flexibility? What about your weight? Have you added some muscle to that wonderful frame of yours?
well,
Your who do you remind me of? You're just that lanky basketball
I'm
player that's got all sorts,
yeah,
you're like gumbo.
yeah.
Okay.
I
And
got
you're
long
30
arms.
years old. Yeah, you're 30 and you're super skinny. Not
Yeah,
skinny,
yeah.
maybe even. So tell me about that.
I I would say that I am much more flexible and mm, as far as strength goes, I've never been one to pursue like I don't need a six pack. I don't need to run a marathon. I haven't yet felt compelled to do that. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
for me, my physical is if I if I could do exercise, I want to do it while playing a game like racquetball or pickleball or something. That's what I
Yeah.
love
So
is
you're not winded
interacting with
as you
people.
play those games?
No, yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
okay, beautifully done. Okay,
yeah,
what you did was you just gave everybody listening an opportunity to say, all right, let me describe myself in 2026.
yeah,
A lot different socially, relationship, spiritual,
mm,
sexual, social, business, finance. You can go ahead and use numbers. You know that I don't promote using numbers when we make our resolutions or when we do the things that we do in our practice because they're limiting.
yeah,
But in this moment, you can. Like if I have $1 million of cash in the bank account,
yeah,
okay, it's fine. Write it out. Write it out. And so be as expressive and as explicit and poignant and
mm,
large, make it as expansive as you possibly can, but tell me everything because you're telling you everything. When I say tell me everything, Fader, about you in January of 2026. And then Once you've written it all down, you can then transfer it over into your electronics if you want,
Mm-hmm.
but put it in an envelope and carry it with you. Carry it with you in your satchel, your briefcase, your man purse, whatever it is that it is, your whatever, and read it at least once a month.
Mm.
And as you read it, it will prompt you to connect with that future and bring it into your present moment. And then by the time January rolls around, you will increase the probability of so much on that paper occurring. Now, I've never had a year where everything I wrote down happened
Mm-hmm.
because it's pretty expansive and you don't know where those expansive parts are going to come from. That's the fun of it. That's the joy of this exercise, is that you don't know. We
Mm.
just never know. But what we never do is we never create from a space that's in front of us, because to live in the past is extremely dangerous. To live in the future is even more dangerous. There's a
Mm.
lot of people in our field who think that's an impressive thing. There's a lot of thing in our religion where you're always looking ahead. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to the psyche, to the brain, and
Yeah.
it is extremely intrusive to the heart, because the heart only knows now.
Mm.
It only knows now. It can't look in it feels from the past, but it can't see anything in the future. Can't feel anything in the future because all it feels is right now. The brain gets, this is where a lot of our anxiety and a lot of our depression comes from, is because of the past and the future. And we definitely want to not promote that, not only in our practice, but with our friends and family, because it is so dangerous to the psyche.
Yeah.
So once we get that, then we can live from this point, January 2026, express everything, feel everything, do everything, put it all in there, and then bring it as if as you're living it today. And then I read mine a lot more than once a month, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. I just recommend at least once a month.
At least that.
At least that, yeah. I
Yeah.
like it every Sunday. I like to read it every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because it really puts me in the framework of where I want to start from for the upcoming week. And I'll be reaching for that black licorice. See, I could eat black licorice every day, right?
Yeah.
I'm a licorice guy and a blackie for sure.
Is there
Not
something
red, not
from
raspberry.
your list that maybe that you'd share here that maybe is important to you?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, Socially,
Hmm.
it is, I don't, I really get uneasy when I'm in large social events,
Hmm.
especially if I'm like a focus. Like they're going to do the 40th reunion of the national championship of Dixie State. Well, it's now called Utah Tech, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to do the 40th anniversary of that. So they're having everybody fly in and come to the game, and they're going to do something during halftime. And as soon as I started reading that, I got a little anxious because
Hmm.
I'm just not the biggest social guy. I turn down a lot of social events because especially if I'm in the limelight. So it's something that I'm working on. So my when I wrote it out, I said when I engage socially, I try to leave something of value with everyone that I interact with. So it can be as simple as a compliment, or it can be as simple as an acknowledgement, or it can be as simple as a connective piece, connecting them to someone else who might be able to help them with whatever it is they're looking for. And I just could breathe a lot easier.
Yeah.
I just knowing that whenever I have a social interaction, rather than steer away from it, just leave them with value. So I leave everybody that I connect with something of that is valuable.
Yeah.
And that's my takeaway.
Yeah.
And I had a lot more socially, but that was one of the pinpoints of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And from a relationship standpoint, here's another one. I have reduced the amount of relationships that I have from frenemies to more trusted advisors.
Oh, yeah.
And so that is something that I'm looking for in 2025 is to spend more time with those that I really trust and that there's more of a two-way relationship with.
Hmm.
Because I have a few that are quite one way. And yeah, that's important to me.
That's cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to highlight, for one, for those of you that don't know, the difference between trusted advisor and a frenemy. Our last episode touched on that, so go listen to that. And
Yeah.
then second, I want to echo just the words that you said about how when we go to the future, a lot of times it's a fear-based kind of thinking. Like whenever we're looking into the future, we're afraid of what's going to happen. And then whenever we look into the past, it's more so regret or shame that we're attaching ourselves to. And so this idea of bringing the future desire, the dreams that we have and ideals that we have to the present and acting as if they're here, it brings that present state. And I think I'd also just add that we don't want to attach ourselves to the result. You know, because I can see myself, okay, if I'm not flexible, if I'm not doing the things that would create the flexibility, or I just went to a social engagement and I didn't show up as that 2026 self. And so it can be a place where we can beat ourselves up versus just this is an exercise to get into the state of the future of who we really are
Mhm.
and in 8 different categories, not just generally, because that's how I used to do it. Was just, yeah, write a letter to your future self or
Everybody
from your
does it.
future self, and it didn't capture quite all the elements of my life. And so I just think that as we let go of any attachment that we have around this or how our life should be, it's just this is what I would love, and let me remind myself of it, and let's just see what happens from there.
Mm,
So
so good. I spent a lot of time. Let me give you this last one, then we'll wrap this up.
yeah.
I spent a lot of time in the financial world, and for 30 years, I I was mentioning to you, I'm letting go of 10 of my financial clients
Oh
this
yeah.
year and taking on 10 trusted coaching clients. So I'm making space up there for anybody listening. I'm going to make space for 10 more clients to come on this year and loving my trusted coaching stuff with all of you and with you, Tyson. But for years, my clients would ask, Fader, how much do I need for retirement? What's my number? And there's a commercial that
Mm.
AIG did, and it was like, what's your number? And they were carrying around the number, and it'd be like 2,437,000. I'm like, and my answer was always, so that's way out in the future. I need
Uh-huh.
$2,476,000, right? And you look at your bank account and you have $132,000 or $32,000. Well, what does that create for you? It creates this gap, right? That is
Mm.
so far away from what does that do to your psyche? And then, so what do? Off we go, start grinding,
Right.
making money. I got to figure out how to do. We compromise our values. We're dishonest. We start doing all these things because I got to get to this number. So I would always say to them, and this is perfect example. It's not a perfect example. It's a great example of exactly what we're talking about 1 year out, bringing that field into you. I would say to them, and I still say to them, how much money do you need for retirement? As much money as you can, as much money as you can save.
Mm.
But you have to save in the present. Oh, I've made extra money. I'm going to put this $1,000 aside. And then off it
Yeah.
goes. Okay, well, I'm just $1,000 closer to my $2,476,000. What does it matter what your number is in the future? Doesn't.
Yeah.
In today's moment, it doesn't matter because it sends a feeling that I'm of lack and that I don't have it. And so I'm looking forward to it. And all it does is create anxiety in your financial part of your brain.
Right.
So how much money should you save for your retirement? As much as you can
Yeah.
in the moment that you can. And if you have money that you can set aside for your retirement, then by heaven's sakes, get it over there.
Hmm.
And so I love that example. And it helped me so much. And I went to I was 27 years old and I was back in Connecticut and I was at a little gathering of about 60 people. They were passing around orange juice and water and coffee, and this kid sitting next to me, he was about 30, he was 35, right? He just says, why are you drinking orange juice and water? And I said, well, I don't drink coffee. And he goes, it's 7:30 in the morning and it's 5:30 from where you're from. And you're the happiest guy in here. I said, well, am I? I didn't really notice. He goes, yeah, you want to go to lunch? Let's go work out and then we'll go to lunch. And so we went and worked out, and we were working out, and he said, how much money do you want to make? And I told him the number, and he said, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard. I said, why? That's a lot of money. And he said, why do you want to put a limit on it? Bingo. That's where I learned a beautiful lesson, and that's the cornerstone of the field, is that why do you want to put a number on it, and why do you want to project that number as if that's what you want to try to get to? Leave that unlimited. So it's a really fun exercise. Tap down below and you can pull up the paper and you can write it out. It takes about an hour. Put it in an envelope, save it, and then in January, if you're one of my guys, you get to read it to me. And it's so fun for me to sit down with my coach and read him my January 2025. It was just breathtaking. It was so fun. Had everything happened on there? No. But had many things happen on there? Yes. Were we amazed at some of the things that happened on there? Yes. And that's the fun of this exercise. So cool. As always, we're leaving you with the challenge.
Yeah. Go do it.
Go do it.
Go do it.
And what's our favorite slogan? What's our favorite slogan?
Trust it.
You can trust it. Thanks, Tyson.
We'll see ya.
Aloha.
Hey, listen, if you enjoyed this podcast, you'll want to come check out trustedcoaching.com, where you can get more support and coaching to help you become more of who you really are and to achieve the vision you have for your life. Again, that's trustedcoaching.com. We'll see you there.